Hi Flosstube! Welcome back to my channel. This is NBC Stitcher. My name's Matt. This is episode number 4. Today is Sunday, May 9th, 2020, and this is a YouTube show about cross-stitch. This is my 4th episode, and you can also follow me on Instagram, which is NBC Stitcher with an underscore between NBC and Stitcher. But the link will also be on the drop-down box below. I want to thank everybody for coming back and watching again, or if you just found me. I keep growing in subscribers, which I really appreciate, and love everybody's comments and helpful information and interacting with people in the comments, so I really enjoy that aspect of this, and so keep it coming. I do want to, so for today, I've got a few things. I don't have more like past finishes or things like that I was going to show today. Instead, I wanted to talk about some things that I've been watching or listening to or been paying attention to while I cross stitch, or while, yeah, so things that keep my attention that I can watch on Netflix or something like that. This is kind of my take on the best new thing that Michelle Garrett does, and Bendy Stitchy and the Steel City Stitchers do it in their Flosstube, where they talk about the best new thing of the week, and they've talked about different things on Netflix or things like that, and I want to do this kind of what you watching segment. And so I have 3 things that I've been, in the last week, I have watched on Netflix, or finished up and watched in the last week, that I have really enjoyed, and really, something I really liked, so I thought other people might like it too, so I'm going to talk about it. So first of all, first one I have is actually a documentary. I like documentaries, and I kind of get on a kick of trying to watch a bunch of documentaries every now and then. I've gone through several of them on HBO or different things, and it's just something that I like following. But this first one, it's a documentary called A Secret Love, and it is this story about a lesbian couple that was you can hear that. That's my dog has seen that there's a rabbit in the backyard and he wants to go chase it. Anyway, so Secret Love. So it's about this lesbian couple that they actually both played in the All-American League of baseball during World War II. If you've seen the movie, oh my god, I'm just blanking on it. As Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, and A League of Their Own. Yeah, so it's the story that A League of Their Own is based off of. Well, 2 of the players in that baseball league, they got together, and then after they weren't playing baseball anymore, they moved to Chicago and started their life together, and they didn't come out of the closet to their families until in the last few years, and they've both been together. The documentary picks up where they've been together for 68.5 years. So I mean, they have spent their whole lives together for the most part, and it's kind of about the last few years and them trying to figure out what to do with getting moving into a place to help them. So they're both starting to have some health issues and all of that, and their interaction with their families, who they had been around, but it had always been, oh, that's my roommate or my friend, or they share expenses because it's so expensive living in the States. They're from Canada, yeah, it was just a really good documentary, and it really struck home, because I mean, part of it, like, there's this tension between Pat and her wife. Well, her wife's family. They weren't even married at the beginning of the documentary, but her partner's Terry's family, that they had grown up with them, and they had always thought of them as their, but they didn't think of them as family. They were always just, my aunt's friend, or my great aunt's friend. But it wasn't, until they really were able to come out and everything, there seemed to be this like underlying tension of, are they really family? Are they going to treat, it was really interesting. It was a really fascinating story, how they came together, their whole lives together. They built up this huge group of friends and everything, which you see a lot of, and especially older gay people, because they just didn't have, times were different then. And they talked about the whole, when they first were together, there was all of these police raids at any bars and everything. It goes through a whole bunch of stuff. It was very interesting, but I really liked it. So that's called A Secret Love. And then the next one, who it is produced by Ryan Murphy. I don't know if you all like him or not, but he does a lot of things, and a lot of them are pretty good. So the next one is also one of his. It's his new mini-series called Hollywood. It's set in the 1940s. After World War II, and in the kind of the end of the studio system, and well, it doesn't really address that, but Hollywood golden age time, and at first it's kind of more historical, and then it shifts into more historical fiction of what if studios had started making content, or for other, if women, people of color, and LGBT people had a voice in the movies openly, and if they could make more of stories for everybody, and not just stories, what ended up happening. And it kind of follows like Rock Hudson, but a fictionalized version of him, his manager, and some other kind of composites of different people. But Jim Parsons is in it from Big Bang Theory. He plays Rock Hudson's manager. He's kind of a skee-ball, but Dylan McDermott is in it. You've got Patti LuPone is really great in it. She plays like a old, she was a movie star of the silent film era, and then when the talkies started, they didn't want her because of the way she talked, and she ended up marrying a studio executive who's now the head of this this picture. It is, it's adult content, not crazy. It's not like Game of Thrones or anything, but there is some like nudity and stuff, but not crazy amounts of it, I would say. But I thought it was really cool. It was interesting. I enjoyed it, but it was also kind of like, at the end I was a little like kind of sad, because like, well, we didn't have the opportunity to do that, and life is, and even some of the things that they're going through is stuff that like I've seen happen during my lifetime, and it's just, we can do better type of, to me it was just a little bit sad that like, we weren't able to do that as a people back then, and we are still having to make change and take all those efforts. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and if you like that kind of golden age of Hollywood time period, I think they do a really good job of that. And then the last show that I want to talk about is different. It's called Never Have I Ever, and it's the new series. Mindy Kaling is producing it, and it's like a teen high school dramedy type of show where the main character is Davy, and she's a top academic going into her sophomore year of high school, and she's dealing with some really big things in her, and it's not really spoiler because this is like the intro to the show. But like her dad died and she couldn't use her legs for several months, and then I mean it's a whole thing. But like her friend group and everything that she's going through, the jokes were really funny. The way they were, it comes across, it made me laugh out loud more than, I mean, most other shows. It was really good. I'm really excited for a second season, which I think is coming. I mean, not right now because it just came out, but that was really good. I don't even really have something like to like compare that to, but yeah, I mean that is one of the all three of those were really good. So, okay, next thing that I want to do is my Flosstuber shoutouts. I started doing this last video and I did it at the end, and I wanted to move it up just in case if anybody's starting to watch it and they want to get to it. So I picked 5 again, and this time I picked all multiple people. So like the channel is multiple people on there talking about it, their stuff. So you can watch one video and get at least 2 people stitching, and get just a good view of that. So first of all, so the first channel I'm going to mention is Parkrop Bart. Now most of his videos are just him, but recently his wife has been joining in. She's been cross stitching as well, and in some of his older videos you'll see like some of her projects where he would show them, but she wasn't in the videos. But in the last couple she's been in it, and it's really they're cute, and I like them. So and Bart has been very supportive of commenting on my posts on Instagram and here, and I'm really happy. He does a lot of Disney stuff and a lot of interesting things. If you like any of that kind of stuff, he charted this piece it's in Disneyland, Disney World, maybe Epcot. It's where the Elendel from Frozen, there's a whole thing he explains in his video, but he charted it, and you can, he has it available so that if you want to do it, you could do it too. And it's just like the one that's actually in the park, which is really cool. And he did like a Star Wars alphabet sampler of the like alphabet script that's used in Star Wars. And yeah, he's great. So I really like them. I wanted to make sure and point them out. Next one is another married couple, and they are Married with Stitches. And this is Derek and Christian, and they also run a fabric company called Fortnite Fabrics, where they hand dye fabric, and they do like a fabric of the month, and then they do weekly auctions on Sundays, and you can they put up a group of fabrics, and then you can bid until it goes, and there's a certain time period to do all that. But they're great. They're hilarious. They just did a video they just did a live video and gave away a whole bunch of stuff for their reaching 3,000 subscribers. So they're great. Christian, I've done several of the he did like the squirrel Sal, and I had a squirrel that was going on during then. And I think I've enabled him a couple times, so sorry about that. But they have, they're funny, and they have a bunch of animals, and you sometimes see them, and they add a level of humor to their videos. It's just great to see. And they do theirs every fortnight, so every 2 weeks, usually is their schedule. And then, okay, next one is probably, you may have seen them, but this is the Sunshine Stitchers, and there's 3 of them as the main group, which is Gary, EJ, and Shelia, and they all are in Florida, in they all go to the same LNS, which is the crotch stitch cupboard, and they are great. They are funny. They tease each other. You've got, I mean, Gary and Sheely have been stitching for a long time, and they've got all sorts of stuff. EJ is a newer stitcher. I mean, a couple years, but and she's kind of coming into different things. And they're one of the ones that I went back and like binged the whole thing. And they have been doing with the social distancing. They've been doing individual and then pushing it together, or filming it on Zoom or whatever, just like the Steel City Stitchers are doing. But they did that, and then they've been bringing in like a guest YouTube floss tuber to kind of highlight them and bring them in and show that kind of stuff, which has really been cool because I have found other floss tubers that I wanted to go watch and find out more about them because of that. So I really like them. They're hilarious, and they have. And Gary is Gary of Garon Toten Bags, which they do project bags and grime guards, and his husband Ronnie is the sewer, but Gary is the stitcher, and so they're just a great group, and they are hilarious. So I would recommend them as well. The next one, they were just on with the Sunshine Stitchers last week, which is Craft Addict K, and this is Carla and Samantha, and they are a mother-daughter duo that they started doing Flosstube after StitchCon last year. I found them, I think it was I know, because I was looking for information about how to like store floss and how different ideas, because when I was looking for something new or how to do it, I mean, I was having my floss just in like bags, and I would have like a Ziploc bag with, the 300s or the 400s, the 500s, and and then I broke up like some of the bigger ones into like 700 to 749, 750 to 799, or in 2 separate bags. But I was trying to transition out of that and trying to find something else, and they did a video of explaining how they do their floss storage and everything. And I'm not a bobbinator, which is why, I mean, I didn't want to bobbinate on my DMC, and I still don't. And so I was looking for alternative ways to do that. And one of the things that they showed was using like a hanging file box, like a plastic one, and then taking a hanging file folder and cutting off the bottom and punching holes in it. And then you can, hang your floss from that and then keep it in the container, along that, which I think also Vanna from the Twisted Stitcher and Fiber Talk, she does the similar type of method or system for hanging hers. And so it's a very, but they had a video about it. I think that came up when I was searching YouTube for information about it. That's, I think, one of the people that I found. So I've been watching them. They do a lot of Heaven and Earth designs, a lot of different things. And they've only, I think Carla said, I think she stitched before, but she's gotten back into stitching really in the last year and a half, or like started December before StitchCon last year. So maybe, about a year and a half now. And Sam is her high school daughter, I think is, I don't know, something in high school, senior year, or maybe junior, I don't remember. But she started a little bit after her. But they do a lot of Heaven and Earth designs, the full coverage stuff, a lot of other things, Quakers. I think Carla was talking about really being into Teresa Kogut recently and some other different designers. So I like them. They're fun. And they were also on Sunshine Stitchers last week, which was really fun because it's like there's like interaction with people. I like that group, and then I like them, and then they come together and something I like, a crossover event, if you will. And then the last one that I want to talk about, you probably already watched them because they are amazing and everybody seems to love them and watch them, which is Just Keep Stitching. And that's Pam and Steph. And they do, I mean, if you don't know who they are, they're great. They're another mother-daughter duo, and they Steph has been stitching for about 3 years, a little more than that, and Pam has been stitching for for a lot longer, since before Steph was born, or when she was born. And so they've got a lot of different things. Steph works in a cross stitch store, Keepsakes, up in Cincinnati, and they were one of the first groups or first floss tubes that I found, and I went back and watched a whole bunch of them. I didn't binge through the whole thing because there's a lot of them, and then there's new stuff coming out, and I kept trying to like get back to it, but there's just so much floss tube to watch that I haven't been able to finish it all. But I did like watch the first full year of them and everything, and then like since like October I've been watching every week. But they're great. And it just came to me, there's another duo that I want to make sure and talk about, because they are also, so I'm doing 6 this time, but it's another 2 for 1. And so this is Stitching with the Sisterlies. They are 2 sisters that are stitching. They're also quilters, and they're up in Pacific Northwest. They're another group that goes to like Acorns and Threads is their LNS and everything, and they're hilarious. I love them. They, I have my great aunt, my grandmother and her sister used to live near each other when I was growing up, and every time when I would go visit my grandmother, I'd also see my great aunt, and they had a similar kind of relationship, so it really reminds me of them, which my great aunt has passed, so it's something to like see that kind of sisterly bond, and they're great. So I would, if you haven't seen them, they're great. I would watch them, and they've been doing a series where they talk to different designers, like Liz Matthews from Hello Liz Matthews, Teresa Kogut, and I think they just did Stephanie Webb of Lindy Stitches, and they did Michelle Bendy before, but they've done, like, they'll talk to a designer and go through like their new releases or their patterns and get an idea of like how they decided to do that and just different things, and then they do a giveaway of those, but they're great. I really enjoy them. Whenever I see like a new video from them, I'm like, oh yes, it's gonna be funny. And Cheryl, one of the sisters, she's been doing a like whole other not just stitching stuff, but she did like a video about making bread, different things that the gardening stuff. They were raising chickens, all the different things that like frontier woman, or not, that's not right, but she's been doing all sorts of stuff, just all sorts of things. So it's really been fun to watch. They got chickens, and she named the chickens after a whole bunch of other floss tubers. So, and then like one of them did not make it, so they had to replace her and and they just got a new chicken and renamed it the same name, which was funny. And they're ball laughs. So I really, I'll put them down below as well. Okay, so actually getting to the stitching now. So first up, I have a finish. This is not a Maynia start, but it is something I finished. Hello, Doctor Who. Okay, so last week I showed him, I didn't quite have him finished. The top of his head was not done, and I wanted to get that finished, which I did get it done this week. But I got him done like yesterday. Like I did this all last night and into this morning, because like early morning before I went to sleep. It was one of my comments, Julie, Kansas City girl in Colorado World, Julie, was saying, oh, you're so close to being finished. It's like, you know what? She's right. I'd started my thing for Maynia for yesterday. I did some on it, and I was like, I can come back to this. I've been enjoying it, but I can finish Doctor Who. I can get that done, and I can get it finished. Which is also, it's something I had wanted to do, because I also want to do another one of these kinds of patterns, and I had been saying that I'll do Captain Marvel if I get this finished, so I'll be doing that, and I'll show that again in plans. But This is Doctor Who. I got this on Etsy. It's not, I don't think it's currently available as a pattern. And there's a similar one from a different designer that I've seen recently. I think that was from Oh My Stitchy Shop was the other one. But this one is, let me find my, nope, wrong button. That I did, okay, so this is from StitchesLoversShop, which I will link down below to the shop, because you can't link to the actual listing anymore because it's not available. But that is that's the name of the shop and everything. So that is what it should look like, and that's what it looks like. So I did this on 16 count. Aida from Bestitchme, Brandy at Bestitchme. This is one of the first pieces of her fabric that I bought. I think the color is listed as Almond Joy, but it's like a pink and teal, or coral and teal kind of mix to it. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. It was really fun to stitch. I did all the called for DMC. I did switch out and add the black for the toile black. Which I think gave really good coverage on this, and adds a little bit of sparkle to it because it's kind of like the night sky or the galaxy or whatever. So yeah, that was really fun, and I got that done and got it all stitched up. Okay, now actual Maynia whips. So first one that I'm going to show you, I showed this last week, but I did a little bit more work on it since the start of since the day wasn't over. I showed this during the middle of the day. This is the Mid-Century Garden collection. It's a combination of a collaboration between hands-on design, ink circles, and Summer House Stitchworks. Yeah. And so there you get one pattern from each of them, and then you can do them individually as little pillows like shown here. You can put them all together. I'm doing them all together, and this is, I started with the one in the middle, and then I'm going to work my way out, but this is what I'm doing. I did a color conversion to like a dark teal, and then this, they're all DMC, but this is a DMC variegated. This is 4022. And then I think it's 3765 is the solid darker teal. Yeah, 3765. And then the carrot color that will be up here at the top is DMC 106. So this is one of the color variations, or color variegated, one of the early number ones, not the 4000s, but and you can still get those. I got it in a box at Michael's, and you got 2 skeins of each of those colors, all of the early numbered color variations. So I bought it for a separate project, but I liked that color a lot. So and you can use, like, when you get like a 50% off coupon or like a 40% off coupon from Michael's, which those don't seem to be happening that much at the moment, but you can use that to, that's what I did when I got it. So I really enjoyed that. This is on 32 count jobelan from Bestitchme. This is Earth, which is one of my favorite colors. Kind of like that other color. It's teal and then like a pink or coral undertone to it, but it's really subtle on here, and then, well, on all of it. It's a little brighter on like the linen or the Aida especially, but it's, or more concentrated, I guess, but I really like it. So yeah, I got a little bit more. I got this kind of up here and then started the border here. So there's only a few more stitches down, and then I'm trying to work this way so that I can start this one as another start for Maynia, and then I'll head that way and be able to start that one as well. So that was what I worked on last Saturday, and then Sunday, I haven't really, well, no, I did spin the wheel and got that. I made a Tiny Decisions wheel for my Maynia stuff, and I spun and got it, and then I haven't really spun, or I've spun and then decided, no, I'm going to do something different. So, but the next one, what I worked on Sunday, this is Ink Circles, Elemental Dragons, Earth. This is a market release from this year, and it's the start of a new series. I'm assuming it's going to be different dragons that are like fire, wind, water, I don't know, air, whatever the elements end up being, but I really liked it. So I am doing this also on Earth. When I talked about this pattern before, I had a different fabric picked out. But I stuck with, this is 40 count, this is Verdal, which is an even weave. And this is also by Bestitchme, and this is also in Earth, just like the last fabric. You can get, this is 40 count, get a good idea of all of that. So I got the whole center started, and then went all the way up to the top there, and I'm doing this in one strand of Weeks Dye Works Foliage, which is a brown green, kind of like a camo color. When it's coming out here on it, that's kind of what it reminds me of. But I've done it all the way, all the way up to the top and all that. So I really like this. And this is one that Christian at Married with Stitches, he's doing it as well in different fabric and colors. But he did it, he was talking about how it's just such a good pattern. He keeps coming back to it, which I agree. I like it, and I want to get back to it some more. And then, okay, so that was Sunday. And then Monday, I started another Mirabilia. This is Lady Justice. She is the biggest one I've started so far, but she will not stay that way. My plans, you'll get to see that. But this is the way. Okay, so this is how far I got. And this is kind of, if you're seeing on the picture, so this like part of her sash or ribbon or whatever that's flowing back behind her, that's this part. So this is part of her dress starting, and this is kind of this way. But I worked on this Monday, and then I also ended up coming back to it, working on it Wednesday, I think, or maybe some other evening. I just picked it back up and put a few more stitches, a few more threads in. But I really like this. This is on 32 count jobelan in the colorway Ice Queen, also by Brandy at Bestitchme. I really enjoy this fabric a lot, and stitching her on this, it's really great. I'm just really happy with this. So yeah, that's pretty much that one. Okay, next up, this was Tuesday, I started a kit. I had two of these. I was going to get one started. This is Santa Nutcracker, and this is an ornament from Satsuma Street. This was part of, I think she did these, 2018 is when she did these. And you get everything that you need, comes with it. So I started doing this on the perforated paper here, and it's gold perforated paper, and I started stitching on it. First time doing anything on perforated paper, but it's a little different because the needle doesn't the needle that came with it, it's not going to push, there's nothing to resist it, it's just going to fall through the holes because the holes are bigger than the needle. But, trying to adjust the way I'm holding it to make sure. I have been using the loop method to do it so that it's not falling off, or if it falls through the fabric or the paper, it doesn't fall to the ground. I just happen to do it that way because and then that's been working, but I didn't do it because of that, but I am continuing to do it because of that. So this is I got this started. You can see it's kind of got his little center, part of his belt, and part of the arm here. But yeah, so that's Santa. This is gonna be a present, so but a Christmas present, so got time, but I wanted to go ahead and get started on it, so I did that on Tuesday. Okay, Wednesday, I started another part of my, I don't think I actually showed the last one that I did. So, I'm doing, this is Primavera by Satsuma Street. Primavera is Italian for spring. And so it is she's done one of each of the seasons, a 9 individual or 9 little motifs in a border thing. This is Primavera. This is actually one of the projects. This is a project that I bought to do. I bought the color variation pack because she uses a lot of those and some of the 4000s, but a lot of the early numbers. And you need 2 skeins for what the border is if you're going to do it like the chart. I'm doing it different. I'm doing them individually. I'm doing each one to begin with. I'm not doing all of them, but I'm doing them individually. So the first one, this is what I had already done. I had already started this one, so this is not a Maynia start, but I don't think I actually showed it in my whip video. But this is the center one, and this is one of those color variegated threads, and this is like a big tree looking like one. And then the next one I started is one of the Tulip ones. And I got a pretty good chunk. This is what I worked on Wednesday on doing, and I got through a bunch of it. And really, I mean, that's that color for that section. So you don't need a whole lot of that color or a whole lot of each of the colors, it seems, to do them. So, and they're coming up pretty quick. I'm doing them all on 16 count white aida, and I chose 16 because of the size it's going to be. I don't remember the exact dimensions of each of them, but when I was looking at it and I was going to put them on, stretch them over some canvases that I have, little canvases that I bought for Michael's, that was the size that I liked and what it would, how it would line up with that. So I've been doing that on that. And I just bought, from Michael's, I bought one of the big tubes of like a yard of, or maybe it's a half yard, of 16 count fabric, and cut it up into squares that, and I think I got 9 or 12 squares out of it. But yeah, that's been really, I've really liked that. I need to get some more, but they've been out the last, here in Oklahoma, our stay-at-home order has lifted, and statewide, and then cities are transitioning to stuff. And so I don't think actually Michael's ever ended up closing because they were doing curbside. I ordered some stuff curbside, but I think they were still open during the whole time. I don't think my city challenged their stance on essential business, but they, I hadn't been going in there until yesterday was the last time. I hadn't been there in over a month, I don't think. And the last 2 times before that, I just did curbside pickup. So, okay, so next one. This is a pattern by Stitchrovia, Emma Cogden in the UK. And you can buy her stuff on Etsy. Let me see. Okay. So this is called In the Forest, which is a Scandinavian style forest scene. I have started one that is like a winter version of it's bigger, but kind of similar. The trees uses some of those trees, and there's also a deer. It's the winter deer one. I have started that, and this is one I had in my pile that I wanted to do. And so I got a start on one of the trees. I did, you know, pretty good amount there. I didn't do a crazy amount. I'm still working. I'm working from home, so I don't get a whole lot of extra stitching time or extra stitching time. And my office is actually opening back up at the end of the next week, so I will be. And we've like it's been open to where we could go in, but like I haven't gone in unless there's something I need or something that I had to do in the office, or just for the most part. But we will be going back in as a Friday that I will be back there. So, but yeah, so that's, this is on 32 count jobelan in the colorway Gold Rush. So, it's coming up pretty good. I really like it. I'm a center starter for the most part, so that's where I've been starting pretty much everything. So yeah, I really liked it. That's another one. Okay, next one up is I had 2 of the Be Well and Stitch patterns in my stash of I was going to kit up and do everything, and this is the one by Satsuma Street, Stay Home. It's the black and white chart because I have a black and white printer, but you get it's the rainbow and then a house that says home and sun and everything. So this is what I started for yesterday, for Saturday, or no, Friday, sorry. You can't really see that. So this is, I got to start on the house, the outline, well, part of it, you know, there's, you can see the M, that'll all get filled in with a different color. But I started this and did a full, like, length of my thread, you know, 2 strands, but a full length that I used up, and got all that done. This is on 32 count Stellar from Picture This Plus. This is the linen, and I bought this at my LNS, the silver needle, originally for a different project, and then I changed direction and then put it in my stash, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do both of them on the same fabric because it's big enough that I can fit this, and then I'll have space to fit the other one on it as well. So, yeah, that's where we're at on that. So I just did a little bit because I went back to working on Miss Doctor Who. And then this morning I went ahead and started my project for today. This was not on my original list of Maynia starts, but I went ahead and changed my mind because we can do that, right? This is another piece from Emma Cogden, Stitchrovia. It's called Laundry, and it is just 3 colors, but I liked it. It's a little, you know, a little piece that's got, I'm going to put it together and put it on my laundry room, or in my laundry room. So I just got a little start here so far. This is on 22 count white Aida or Hardinger, and I'm doing this 2 strands over 1 tent stitch. So it's going faster than if I was doing all the crosses, and I think I'm getting pretty good coverage, so I'm really liking it. And this is the UND in laundry in the middle there. But yeah, I'm really liking it, and I started this partially, well, I wanted to do it, and I wanted something that it would be small enough that, you know, I can easily put it together. But I also wanted to see if I liked doing it on this because I have some other full coverage or pretty close to full coverage pieces that I wanted to figure out a fabric that I could easily get and could do it in tent stitch on instead of doing full cross to make it quicker. And some of those, and so it seems to be working out so far, so I'm going to continue to do it and do some more like that. So I bought another set of, I bought that fabric yesterday when I went to Michael's, so that they had the smaller ones, and so I got that, and I got another one that I'm gonna use for something else, probably. But I wanted to talk about. It got me thinking when I was talking about Carla and Craft Addict K, and they were talking about what I found them by when I was looking for their video on how to do floss storage. I do mine. I did it that way, and then I've kind of transitioned into a different way to store it. But I have been. I don't bobbinate, and I do my floss on floss drops, and then put it together on a ring for a project. I also use the rings for the storage of it too. So the way I do it, and you can see this, so these rings you can get on Amazon. They screw together at the end, so they're flexible. You can get a pack of the multicolors pretty economically, and you can screw multiple ones together to make a bigger ring if you need more than this size. And they are really good for an individual project. I have in my office or other places that I stitch sometime at home, I have little knobs on the drawers, and I can just hang this on there, and so it's hanging while I'm using it, and then I put it back up and put it in there. So what I do is I cut my floss to a length, and then I will put the number on here. You can see this is different. So I started with doing 3 hole punches on these. The cards. Well, let me show you. Okay, so I get them on Amazon as well, and they come, I think it's 200 of them at a time, or 300. But they come like this. They're little gift tags. They're white, and they come pre-cut like this. And you can just, what I do is I will take a hole punch to make this hole here bigger, because it goes through the ring a little bit easier, and the way I hang it on clips or things, it just makes it easier to hang that way. And then I'll write the number on it. So I have one that I'm going to do with you that I bought. Well, let me show you first. Okay, so, and then I bought a hole puncher that's a bigger hole punch. It's 5/8 of an inch, or 1.59 centimeters. You can buy these at Michael's, which is where I got this one. And then I just make a hole in there, and then may not be perfectly centered, but I don't really care about that. So, and yeah, and then you can thread it all through. So I'm doing one with you all. This is for $9.96. So this is the, you get it DMC, and I just take those off, find the edge, and what I do is I pull it all out. I've watched other people how they split up their DMC and everything, and I've kind of figured out what works for me, and you just got to figure out what works for you. But I like seeing how other people do it to see if there's something that would, make it work what I do. And so I pull it all out, and then I get the 2 ends, and I pull it together, and then I will take it, smooth it all out, and get to the other end. And usually if I'm doing it, sometimes it will knot up, but not usually. It's usually pretty good. And then I bring the ends together again. So I've come together once, and then the second time. So you've got 4 strands, you're holding it. Okay, now I find if I just do this is too long for me. But if I do it again, that's too short. So I do, from when I have this length, so I have come together once and twice. So there's, if I'm pulling it, there's 4 strands here. I will then do this in thirds or approximate thirds. So I've been doing this enough that I know, okay, this looks like it's going to be that, and then I pull it. Nope, I got to adjust a little bit. But yeah, so I get it into about thirds. So we're here to here. And so I don't know the length of this. I don't actually measure it, but this looks like a good length for me. And then I will cut it, and I didn't bring my scissors over. So I cut just the links here and then leave it like this and loop it through my card. And once you take the loop through, then you pull back like that. And then it just hangs like that. And I'll, this would normally be cut, but you can leave it like this and cut it later if you want to, which I just figured out with you all live. So, yeah, so that's how I do it. And then you'll see like on my rings, you'll see like a little symbol. I just draw the symbol on here. And it's not necessarily perfect, but it's for me. I've got to recognize it and I can figure it out either using a regular Sharpie or using like a fine tip Sharpie if there's a whole crazy number. Like I've done this on the Hades that I have, do the same thing. But if I finish it, when I finish a project, I take this and I will take a little, I have labels that are just like the big rectangle labels that like if you would put like on a file folder or something, they're just blank, and I cover it up. You can see this one, I've actually done that here. So this is the second symbol on this one, but I just cover it up and then tear it off and reuse it. I've done that. I've put it over the number if I need to change the number out, and just reuse it to whatever. But typically I put one skein per card on here. Because I don't want, it gives me kind of like a gauge of like how much it says I need if I've got multiple skeins in a project, and I just still put one on a card. There are some that have more than that because I didn't always do that, and I'm continuing to adjust this as I go along. Like I used to have 3 hole punches, and I would put the thread in the middle one, and I'd have to use like another piece of thread to loop it through. And then I'd put like, okay, this is a remnant on either side, so I know like use up that if I'm coming back to it on a different project or something, or the next time I use that color in the same project. Now I just use like one hole, and then just it's tied to the side, or still through the same thing if I have to do that. But yeah, that's how I do my floss, and I do that on all my DMC, and the specialty floss not quite the same, but I don't have a whole lot of that to do it differently, and I just leave those on their cards, or sometimes I'll put them on a different card, but I'll have the symbol that I'm using depending on it, but I don't have a huge selection of that. Most of my thread is DMC, my stash of that. So, but I thought I find it useful when I see how other people do it. So maybe you guys would as well. If you have if you do anything a little bit different, let me know. I'd be happy to. If you did a video about it, or you did anything, or you want to explain it how you do it, I'd be happy to listen because I like seeing it, and I've adjusted it over the time to how I want to do it. So. You just gotta figure out what works for you. Okay, haul. I didn't get as much this week as last week, which is good because it helps my bank account. But a lot of this stuff, I don't think any of this was ordered since the last time. But it came in. So I got a couple grime guards. This is one of them. This is from DLK Crafts. She's on Etsy and she's in Canada, so it takes a while to get here, but I've bought from her several times before. The two you saw earlier, the two light blue ones on my Mirabilia and my Stay Home, those were also what I got. There's two more coming that I purchased, but they haven't got here yet, so I just got some additional ones. And I ordered, next thing, okay, I talked about this before. This is the new Mirabilia, Princess Elena. Ileana. Yeah, this is out this last month. This is the new Mirabilia by Nora Corbett. She's a fairy princess, and this is a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and she used all of the new colors from DMC, including all of like 1 through 35, and then some of the late 38. That's not all of them, but she used all 1 through 35, and then there's other colors as well. Used this big dress. There's a lot of beads. There's treasures and everything. I also got the embellishment pack that comes along with it, so you can see all of those things. I bought this. I pre-ordered it on Fire Poppy's website, and then they sent it to me when they got it. So this came in this last week, and I was really happy because this is one that I would like to do either for Maynia or for my birthday later this month. And so I started getting the floss. I'd already ordered the fabric, which came in that I want to use, and so I'm going to be getting that all together. I got part of. I did buy from 123 Stitch. I bought some more patterns that came in, but I bought them a couple weeks ago. So I bought some more Nora Corbett's, and I actually started with Princess Elena. I thought of, okay, doing her with some of the other flower fairies together, just like on a wall or something. That would be a fun. Not on like one piece of fabric, but multiple pieces of fabric, but like the same kind of fabric or the same fabric for all these different ones, I think they would go well together. And these can fit, you can fit 2 of them easily on a fat quarter, and she's going to take up the full fat quarter. So this is Imperial Lady D. This is also from 2019, and she's a pretty lady. Reminds me, this is part of the Orchid Party, so she goes along with Lady Cat, which is one you'll see in a little bit. I showed her before, but she's in my plans. So this is Imperial Lady D. She's an orchid. I think I'll probably add a face to these, or eyes or something, because the faceless ones are a little creepy to me, but I don't know exactly. This is another one that I liked of those pixies and flowers. This is Monkshood. This is actually part of the Poison Pixies collection, which they're all like poisonous plants, but this Monkshood, which I really liked. It's a little different, but it's really cool. So that one, and then this other one, Miss Ginkgo, is part of the Autumn Pixies. And I'm not going to do like all of the same pixies. I don't want to do all of them. But there's certain ones that I like that I want to do, and this is definitely one of them. She is the next one I'm planning to start after Lady Cat, which I'll show in a little bit. But this is Miss Ginkgo. I like ginkgo trees, and I think this one was really pretty. So, and it's got a nice like autumn color scheme to it, fall colors. So that's all the haul. So the next little bit is plans. So first up, I'm going to be moving my Maynia plans from, well, first up let's talk Monday's coming up, so I'm gonna start another Mirabilia, and or Nora Corbett. So I'm gonna be starting Lady Cat. She also is part of the Orchid Party, and she is. This is one I really liked. I started looking at them. I ordered that one. I think also from Fire Poppies, but I got 32 count Gaia Lugana from Brandy at Bestitchme, and this is hard to see. It's like got green, it's got teal, it's got purple, pinks, and it's very light, and very pastel-y looking to it. So to me it's like a non-neutral neutral. And so I'm using the same. I got 2 fat quarters of this instead of getting a half, because it's like I measured, or I figured out that Princess excuse me, Elena would fit on 1 fat quarter, and then I could fit 2 of the others onto 1 fat quarter. So I'm starting Lady Cat on this one. And then I'm also going to be doing Miss Ginkgo also on this piece. And then on the other piece of this, I'm doing Princess Elena. But when I start each of the other ones, I'm not sure yet. I'm still... But, I did get all of the floss done for Lady Cat. So that's this one. Let's see. Let's do this. Maybe. So you can see that, and yeah, that looks pretty good. So you can see this is like 2 of the rings together, so I put those 2 together to do this. But yeah. And yeah. So the other thing that I'm planning to do, I don't know when I'm going to start Princess Ileana, but it'll probably be tomorrow. It'll probably be not this week, but maybe the next Monday. But I am going to do... so part of finishing Doctor Who was that, in my mind, is that I can then start doing... Captain Marvel, and this is the pattern that I've picked out. This is from Oh My Stitchy Shop. She does a bunch of these different like silhouette, different kind of patterns like that. So it's not called Captain Marvel, but it looks like Captain Marvel from the MCU. I liked that movie. I pretty much like all of those. So I am doing this on 18 count Aida. I think this doesn't have a name on it, but I think it's Ocean Blue and this is also from Brandy at Bestitchme. And I feel like I just need like a little like recording to play every time I'm gonna say this is from Brandy at Bestitchme, because most of my stuff is from hers. But this is the colors that go with it. I did switch out. I'm doing the black in étoile, and then there's red. There's the 666. Yeah, and I'm doing that in the étoile as well. So I think this will look great. I'm excited to do this one, and that'll be sometime this next week. I'll probably work on the next the Mid-Century Gardens as well this week, and another couple of the Primaveras is likely what I'll get started. But those are all pretty the Primaveras are really easy to get started, so I like that. I've got some time to start stuff and to stitch, and I like the idea of getting a bunch of stuff started, but I like the idea of working on some things that I really want to work on more than just, I want to spend a full day on this. So I'm kind of starting something to get it started But unless it really like pulls at me, it's just the start that's happening. I'm not gonna work on it forever. But there's that. I do. Sorry. I don't have. It's just my allergies, I think. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. But yeah, I've been making progress on everything, and I thank you all for coming and seeing everything, and that's pretty much it for me this week. So I will link down below all my whips, what they are, the fabric and everything, and if I did like crazy colors, or most of them are all just with the DMC. I don't think I had any unless I talked about it. But I'll have that linked below, as well as, or written in the description box, and then I'll have linked the floss tubers that I'm shouting out and all that. So if you all have any questions or anything, I don't know that I know a whole lot, except from what I've read or heard from other people. So I'm not going to call myself an expert by any means. I mean, I have been stitching for a while, but not really consistently, and only to this extent in the last year, not even that. So, I mean, I've learned a whole lot in the last 6 months, so yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's, that'll be it for me today, so keep stitching and enjoying everything, and I don't really have an outro yet, so anyway, have a good one. Bye!